peace is everything. You cannot do anything, you cannot go on your normal duties without peace. And most of the time we've seen the nation, we've seen politicians, we've seen quite a lot of things that are happening, that we are losing quite a lot of lives, people getting maimed. We have seen people being amputated because of politics. And we realize that as young people, as young professions in this country, we cannot sit by the fence and complain that what is the government doing about it, but what can we do for our country in complementing what the government is doing. And that is why Interregional Peace Network came up, so that we are able to work with the government agencies, we are able to complement, to ensure that we are not having the problems that we keep on having every electioneering period. And I think to some extent we've really achieved much, and we are looking forward. I would also want to share in the same sentiment that Daktari has said, and there is my message to all political aspirants outside there, even as the nominations of political parties are beginning today, and to the youth and to Kenyans across the nation, that politics is not worth your life. There is no reason for you to go outside there and lose your life because of certain politicians. Remember, whether he's elected or he's not elected, life will have to continue. Right. And so we expect also the police to remain extra vigilant on the ground. We expect political aspirants to play politics of maturity, because we cannot continue seeing people being taken to hospitals. We cannot continue, to see all these things. It has to stop at some point.
Okay. Dr. Nasongo, the NCIC has been referred to as a toothless dog severally, because we have spate of violence coming up, but we don't seem to see action. What's your feeling on that? Is it a commission that cannot act?
Well, that is a perception that I would say may not be really true, because as a commission we have a mandate that is very clear and very specific. We deal with the issues that have to do with ethnic, racial and religious relations. So if there is a violence that is emerging out of, let's say, a political process that may not really perhaps touch on ethnic, racial and religious dimensions, then as a commission we can, as it were, appeal that there be decorum, there be kind of fairness, and there be lack of tendency towards violence. Perhaps what may have contributed to that perception is the issue of specifically one aspect of what the Commission deals with, that is hate speech. On that note, or on that front, one would say that perhaps what Kenyans would expect, and of course Kenyans we wish to have instant justice, and the judicial process is a process. As a commission, we investigate issues of hate speech, compile the evidence and forward to the Director of Public Prosecutions. That's the office that is mandated under the Constitution to deal with now the prosecution process. So when that has been done, we all know that justice process is at times long and tedious, and at times there's that tendency that justice delayed is like it's denied.
Denied. Yeah. From the Commission's aspect, do you feel frustrated by the judicial process?
I cannot say that we are really frustrated. What we would say is perhaps what is a hindrance or kind of a problem would be the high, the Evidence Act that really requires that to prove a case of hate speech. It's not just the fact that the public has seen a particular person or a leader on media spewing out hate speech. There are other requirements within the Evidence Act that would demand that one, the instrument that was used to record, the gadget that recorded this evidence must be produced before the court. And even its use, its maintenance, whether it has been altered, adulterated, or those technicalities.
And when you look at those technicalities and that whole process, do you feel And that's why maybe some feel that the NCIC is a toothless dog, in the sense that, yes, they have a mandate. Yes, they're supposed to come in and ensure that things are done in a certain way with decorum, no hate speech, there's no violence in the country that is brought about by politicians or even residents. But when you look at the technicalities, when you look at the process, then does it frustrate you as a commission to a point where you cannot act? Yes, you have the mandate, but you really cannot do anything.
What I would say is that we have those obstacles, but that does not mean that as a commission we cannot do anything, because as I mentioned earlier, hate speech is one of the aspects that the commission deals with. But generally we are supposed to promote peaceful coexistence. And peaceful coexistence is a wider mandate, because we as a commission, first of all, we are supposed to handle issues of eradication of discrimination on the basis of those three dimensions: ethnicity, race, and religion or color. Now, when you look at all these, the commission is doing its best in many of those other dimensions. With regard to ethnic and diversity audits, which I'm sure media has covered widely, reports that we produced last year, and I'm sure on universities, on county governments, on parastatals, and even commissions. All these reports are in the public purview, and Kenyans have interacted and had discourses around the issues of non-inclusivity, particularly in how we hire, recruit in public organizations. So that is how the commission, we have done very well. We have also done very well with regard to reconciliation and mediation. Whenever we have had communities uprisings and violence, fights and all that, the commission has been on the forefront with other actors to mediate. And we have seen some of these engagements really hold, except perhaps in some of the regions, Baringo and others, whereby the natural phenomena of drought may have exacerbated what is now ongoing as in the Laikipia and all that. But in terms of the communities and having timely interventions, the commission has had very good engagement. So when it comes to now the issue of hate speech, where the public will want to crucify the commission on that element, what we are saying is that this work requires resources.
Okay.
An example I would give, perhaps just in brief, is that, for instance, if, let's say, media covered a politician or a Kenyan who is spewing hate speech, you know, the Evidence Act would require that that camera should be part of the evidence. Now, would media stop its work and begin to, you know, those are the technicalities. If the commission had its own staff doing its own work, I'm sure these issues
maybe we'll come to the fact that why, I guess it would be impossible for them to be everywhere at every time. Yeah. So those, again, are technicalities. I'm not sure how we would overcome that. We'll come to possibly how we can overcome those challenges. Frederick, it would be an exercise in futility if we try and deal with violence at the top. There is a root cause. There is what maybe brings us on the verge of violence every single year we are facing election. And unless we deal with that, then we can forever be waiting that every time we have elections, then we should be on the verge, or we'll be waiting with bated breath to see how far is it going to go. What is the root cause from your thoughts?
That is a very good question. I think it is important for us to realize and know what are some of the reasons that are making us fight every time that we are going to an election. I do not think that what they're doing at the commission is very good, having cameras and all these things. But that is just dealing with the problem.
Let me just cut you short. I think we'd like to take a live feed from Otoma, who's giving a live press briefing. So we'd like to cross over and just listen in to what is happening right there. We'll be back.
Yeah, I think we are here at Bumala police station to report some attempts by desperate people, whom are our competitors, to try and malign my name, having sensed defeat. These are leaflets that have been poured on the roads. The vehicles that have been doing this, we have already given them to the police officers concerned. You can see they purported that this is coming from one of the media houses, and some of the posters that were being pinned at the polling areas are this. And the perpetrators of this are known. I just hope that now we have told the commissioner, Nora, who is in charge of this region, that we signed a certain code of conduct that is expected of aspirants. But now you can see the desperate measures some of our brothers or competitors are going through to try and mislead the public. That we are no longer competing, that the disciplinary committee has disqualified us. But I just want to reassure the people of Busia, please just turn out in large numbers and vote. It's also a bit unfortunate that as we speak now, the ballot papers have not reached most of the polling areas. And of course, there have been other small reported incidents. But I hope that we still have enough time to correct some of these things and make sure that we have a credible election that is going to give the people of Busia the flag bearer for the ODM party.
Nation media has been implicated in this, specifically Daily Nation.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I don't think this looks like coming from Nation Media Group because you can see these are just printed computer material, and I hope that even Nation itself should be able to take some remedial measures because this is misusing the brand of a company, and I hope they're also going to be reporting officially here to make sure that in the investigations that are being carried out, that they themselves as a media house, they're also checking on this. But me as an aspirant, because all this information that has been given here is all total falsehood. And these are those ancient methods of trying to think you can rig yourself. But I know that the verdict of people of Busia is so overwhelming that even despite this kind of thing, we are very confident that we are going to carry the day. And I just want to urge the supporters not to be distracted by this kind of thing, to turn up in large numbers and make sure that they vote. Yeah, so that these kind of schemes that are being hatched are not there. The second thing I want to appeal to them, that sometimes these kind of things start bringing, political temperature very high. I just want to appeal to them that please let's continue to maintain peace. And I'm also appealing to the police. I hope that they are vigilant enough to make sure that criminal gangs are not imported in this county to try and cause disharmony and cause insecurity that the people of Busia naturally we enjoy. I think those are the measures, because the only way that I know you can cause insecurity here is to try and bring some elements from outside. Because generally the people of Busia are peaceful, and anybody who commits that crime, they will be known and they will be reported. I only also just urge that I hope that the police should be responding also in real time to some of these things so that we don't wait for incidents to happen. For example, what happened in Funyula last night, where some people were attacked, it took a very long time for the response to go through. You would find that some of us were being informed, the people who had been attacked are taken to hospital, and yet the police, where they had reported, there was no action that had been taken. And if they had responded very quickly, they would have arrested some of those criminal elements. The attacker was called by one gentleman from Luchululo, and I think they were taken to Nangina Hospital. I talked to the OCPD. She managed to send the police officers there, and she confirmed the incident, that yes, there was an attack by some people who were attacked with machetes and all these kind of things. And we hope that they have done proper investigation, because fortunately, the victims who were attacked could identify some of those individuals. And it's my wish that measures are going to be taken, that those individuals can be arrested and be charged.
So we've been promised a fair and the election, there's going to be peace, but we're getting more rocky start. So what could you tell us about that?
I think to me sometimes we plan to fail because when we say that, we need people with credibility, people who have some kind of element of neutrality. But when you have one aspirant appointing referees, and when these things are brought to your attention, you say those are minor issues. And then that's when you start seeing these kind of small things coming up. But as I told you, I think the people of Busia have made up their mind. and with overwhelming support, they are going to give a proper verdict. Whatever schemes are hatched to try and, give certain outcomes. As I told you, these are very ancient measures. We know them. All we need now is to make sure they are not happening. Like the idea of boxes not having reached certain polling areas while others are voting. But I can still tell you I'm very confident that the will of the people of Busia will be expressed.
Yeah, you touched on that logistical matter, like the boxes not getting to certain area. Do you sense any malice to it, or is it just
As I told you, when you have some aspirants appointing referees, then especially when they sense that the will of the people may be against them, then they go to all measures to try and reduce the ability to exercise that will. And in this case, I tend to suspect that is what is happening. But even despite that, I know that the will of the people of Busia is so overwhelming that I don't think those kind of schemes will change anything. Yeah.
This season has occurred. So far, are you satisfied with the speed police have taken?
As I said, we can only be satisfied when we know that some of the culprits, like I said, the vehicles are known. If we hear that those people, those vehicles have been caught and they have been brought here, then we'll be saying there has been some response. But so far, we have not seen any. So let's give them time and see what happens. Yeah. But I have not seen, because as this incident was being reported, this vehicle was just like 100 meters away from this police station, refueling, in that place. And this thing was being done at night. And you could see, even if you move around some polling areas, you can see that they had tried to paste them on some walls, and some they had been throwing on the road. As I said, the good thing, the vehicles are known. Yeah. And it's also very unfortunate that some county government vehicles are also being used. And we have reported this severally. Even in the party, we committed ourselves that we are not going to use public resources to do this. But as you are aware, if you look at the incident that has also been reported in Busia town, you would find some of the vehicles that are involved in this kind of thing are county government vehicles. And nobody is taking any action. These are some of the things that I'm saying, They are small irritants, but as I said, let us focus on the main thing. Let us allow the people to vote, even if it's going to be late. I'm telling them that please just stay in there, because those who went to the polling areas at 6, up to now, they have not seen ballot papers. But we are still encouraging them that just wait. We hope the ballot papers are going to come. Thank you. So long as you have an ID, you will vote, and your name is in that register, you are going to vote. I've seen, the register that came from the party headquarters, the one that they are using. That's what is important. So, but I have seen some desperate measures, like you saw some people walking around with the ODM cards purporting to be recruiting people now. You have had some of them even talking that they recruited people. I think once you're a member of an ODM party, then you're a member. You are not a member by virtue that somebody recruited you. These are the people, as I told you, who still live in the past. The people who would buy cards, hold them, and then try to stuff ballot boxes. And I hope that is not going to happen, as I'm saying. That we hope the voting material has been properly secured. Because so far, I have not had any incident on that. The only things that I'm seeing are these sideshows that are going on. Yeah? Isn't the police? They already. Oh, because they already have their OB numbers. No, and they want to take a photo.
Just people to photo.
Oh. Oh. You want me to?
All right, so as we can see there, we have Paul Otoma, who's making a statement and basically complaining regarding a publication that's doing rounds in Bumula, where he is. And he says, of course, that is fake material. It is written there, Daily Nation, but of course, it does not look genuine from where we are. And as we can see, it is written, Otoma perfects, okay, it's hidden right there, something to do with the party. But of course, his complaint there being that there seems to be foul play that's going on currently. And part of the accusations that he has put across is the fact that some of this material apparently or allegedly is being distributed with county vehicles. So one, of course, would wonder why that would be the case, if at all that is true. And secondly, who would be behind that? So we do have Paul Otoma there, who's an aspiring governor for Busia, and basically giving a statement and complaining. One of the other challenges that, of course, we have realized through what he has said is the fact that voting material has not yet arrived, and there are people who were already ready to cast their vote from